I know you seem to be on a lot of sofas. A lot of chat.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, no sofa here. Sofa over there. We just
Yeah.
put you on a really hard chair.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
I'm very happy, yeah.
Okay. Are you rolling?
Yeah.
Right. Music. Let's talk music. This isn't just a recent thing, is it? You've been surrounded by music all your life, haven't you?
I have, because my mum and dad were music teachers, and so there was music around whether you liked it or not. And they played, or they tried to play, a number of different instruments. They had recorders, and they had even had like a bass recorder that they taught in schools. You know that my hands couldn't reach. And my dad taught the piano, and they were music teachers at their junior school. So yeah, it was around a lot. So I just started playing stuff when I was a kid, and it was classical mostly, but we didn't actually listen to pop music till I was about 10. They never had Radio 1 on. They were, not that they were sort of Victorians, but they just didn't like the sort of youth explosion of the 60s, really. It wasn't until we were wallpapering our back room on a Sunday that we had the charts on. And I suddenly became liberated, and they let me listen to the charts, so I started listening to pop music. And
you devil.
I know.
Wallpapering your back room. What instruments did you play as a child?
I played the recorder and the violin and the piano, and the guitar as well. But I had regular lessons on the violin and the piano, yeah.
So when did the double bass come into things?
Oh, that came into play because it was a friend of mine going to America about 10 or 11 years ago, and he actually came back, but after a very short time. But he was getting rid of all his stuff, and he said, and I said, "Ooh, can I have the double bass?" And I bought it off him, and I would play it after a couple of glasses of wine and then not know what I was doing, and then I thought, but I start having some lessons. So I've been having lessons for it for nearly 10 years.
And they're beautiful, aren't they? Like a big piece of furniture.
They are massive to move around, and even just pick it up and put it in its case, is a chore. They're really for young people. I wish had chosen the piccolo. I could put it in my pocket. But I'm always amazed when I see somebody on the tube with a double bass on a backpack going through the gates and things. And I'm like, wow, so much respect.
Yeah. Was there a big music scene in Stockton-on-Tees? Because you were in a punk band, weren't you?
I was in a punk band when I went to drama school, but I was in a not very, well, the people I was in a band with at school, I didn't really like their music. They liked Leonard Skinner and Status Quo and things like that. And we, I remember we played Sweet Home Alabama, which seemed very weird as we lived in a very cold place in the northeast.
And your music has run through your career, hasn't it? Because you've done musicals as well.
I haven't done musicals, but what I did in my 20s is that I got work because I could play the violin. It was a cheap way for a lot of theatre companies to get musicians in, because the MU rates, the Musicians Union rates, are much higher than acting rates. So there was a few things where I would just play a lot for quite a long time and just have a couple of lines and go, "My lord, he went that way," or something.
Nice. So your second album, was this a lockdown record? I'm trying to work out the time.
It was really, yeah. I mean, it would have come out more quickly had, the pandemic not happened, but it was also, of course, inevitably influenced by the pandemic, and the songs seemed to be about escaping or looking into oblivion, so hence the title, Songs of Escape and Endless Night, which makes it sound like, a very gloomy, possibly, I don't know, like Nico or somebody like that, album, but it's got a lot of catchy pop on there, basically.
Yeah, it's catchy pop, but there's also that streak of melancholy that runs through it.
I think so, yeah. I mean, there is a song about my mum died during not of COVID, but really she wasn't very well anyway, and I think she almost sort of died of loneliness, really. So there's a song about her, well, that it's attributed to her, but it's more about the existential sort of flux that you get into when you lose somebody very close to you.
And is it completely self-made? I mean, are you playing all the instruments?
I am playing all the instruments, apart from the saxophone, which a fantastic guy, John Shinoy, plays on a couple of tracks. He was a friend of my double bass teacher, very hot on the London jazz scene.
And what are your influences in general? I'm thinking Brian Ferry, Roxy Music, David Bowie.
David Bowie, yes. Well, I suppose they're the things that I possibly sound like and can't avoid sounding like a little bit. But I like so many different things. I love jazz, obviously bebop jazz in particular. I love early classical music. I love 20th century classical music. I love electronica. I love jungle. Yeah, tons of things.
And I've written here lots of the 1890s in there. I meant actually the 1980s.
Not the 1890s.
The streak of 1890s that runs straight through. No, it feels really, it's got that lovely kind of 80s vibe to it, I thought, the whole album.
I think it does, although as somebody pointed out, because I do use a lot of samples and I manipulate samples, and on my first single from the album, Wonderland, basically the rhythm track on that is kind of grime, really. If you took away my sort of Bowie-ish vocals, it wouldn't, I think you might associate it in a different way. I think my voice associates the music to that period, but there are about 9 rhythm tracks on that, which are, very contemporary.
And can we talk about the video for Wonderland? Was that based on a dream you had about a giant inflatable?
After some delicious cheese on toast. The Hadley brothers, who put both my videos from this album together, are hugely imaginative, and Malcolm Hadley's worked with Tim Burton quite a bit, and it was their idea, not mine. I mean, I love the visuals, and it sort of gives another component to the songs. But when I asked them about the Wonderland, I met them and they said, well, we're thinking inflatable costumes, lots of rubbish, you lying on the floor. I was like, okay.
Makes sense.
It makes sense in that it makes no sense, but yeah, it's fine. I'll do that.
And Stacey was in that one, wasn't she?
My daughter Stacey was, yes, she's lying on the floor. She's complained several times that she's not in it enough.
Now, what about Can't Stop Doing It? What was the inspiration for that? Do you feel like a smashed cell phone?
I sometimes do. I think it was. I was sort of using my phone and my devices too much, and I thought, compulsive behaviour. And I think it sort of could be applied to any addictive or compulsive behaviour, but also kind of enjoying it, which is quite sinful, really. I think there's a cohesion between the actual track, which is a bit of an earworm, and the lyric, which I found interesting.
And what about the video for that one? There's some
Yeah.
water skiing going on.
Yes, I know. I said, I think I probably should just be in it, because they said you weren't in the last one quite enough. And so I said, well, it might be cheaper for me just to be in it on my own, which it wasn't, by the way. I was in it. I spent about 12 hours of one day doing all of those things. Like, they said, just pretend to be rolling something. I said, what? We don't know yet. Turned out to be an enormous donut. And they had all these kind of very strange ideas. There was one on one of those little turntables, which they use for very trendy photography, And but they had to go so slowly, so they could speed it back up, or they had alternatives, and they put the track on at something like, I don't know, a sort of 5% of the speed that it actually was. So it took me, almost a minute to turn around. It was very strange to do.
But a great result. I can't stop listening to it. Is there anything you really can't stop doing?
Eating sandwiches is a problematic thing that I have, so I have to not make sandwiches and not look at them even.
And what about the phone thing? Have you kind of knocked that on the head now? The devices.
Oh no.
I
Yeah,
don't know how
we're
you
all.
are you releasing any more singles from the album?
Not at the moment, and in fact, I'm starting work on my third album now, so I'm very excited about that already.
I was going to say, tell me about the third album, or how far have you got with it?
I've only got 2 tracks in, and I've used a fantastic jazz singer, female jazz singer, because I thought it was to to sort of just go down another road that doesn't associate me quite so with the 80s. I thought I'll have another colour in there.
Excellent. Going back to your this current album, what would teenage Jez make of it, do you reckon?
I don't. Oh my goodness me! I don't know. I'd hope to be that he'd be like. It depends what age of the because teenagers change every year, don't they? I hope he'd be proud. Probably not. Probably go. It's boring. It's not noisy enough.
And is it the one that you've always wanted to make? Is it something that's been brewing for a long time?
I really don't know. I mean, I just literally go with each track and make it its own story. And that's why I hope that the album is a collection of sort of short stories, really, with a different tone and colour and vibe on each one.
Who's the Spanish voice on Step Out?
Oh, that's Cristo Fernandez. Yes.
Is it?
It's Danny Rojas from Ted
Right,
Lasso.
I did wonder about that. It sounded kind of familiar. And some of it reminded me of Black Star, David Bowie's album.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
What do Stacey and Alfie think of your music, be honest?
Don't really listen to it. Not really aware of it, not on their radar.
But do you force them to?
No.
Don't put it on in the car?
No. No.
Just try it on the grandson instead. That should And do you run anything past Mary? Do you run songs past Mary?
I do, actually, yes. Of course, she's much more up for it and, very, very generous in what she says, yeah.
Can I ask what it was like at the White House? How was Joe Biden?
Joe Biden was great and speaks very quietly, but has a lot of energetic thought and showed us around different rooms in the White House, including the room where Trump sat and watched the insurrection on the television. And in fact, when we looked up on the television, there was an article about the show, the Ted Lasso cast visiting the White House. So it was all a bit, what?
Yeah.
But he was very, very nice. And when we had a photograph taken with him, he sort of he went down on one knee, not to me, but to because there was a group of us. And then when he stood up, he didn't wobble at all. And I thought I couldn't do that, and I'm much younger than him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you can do that at 96, it's amazing. Are you doing anything else with the Ted Lasso crew? Not that you can say very much.
I don't know. There will be some awards further down the line, I think. We're nominated for a lot of Emmys, but I don't know when the Emmys will be because of the strike, which I'm in full support of, and hope that it can be put together a deal soon.
Are they friends for life? Do you reckon?
I think so. I mean, we're all in different countries and doing different things, but it's always such a pleasure to see everybody when we get together. And we particularly just have a great laugh.
And it was lovely what Hannah Waddingham said about Jason Sudeikis, the fact that he changed her life to such a degree, her life is completely different now. Do you feel that?
Well, you never know quite how long it's for, but I didn't think so initially. And then when I went out for there was a screening of the first 2 episodes of the second season, which we hadn't been able to do for the first season because of the lockdown, international lockdown. But I was the first person to get there, and I didn't know that there was a grandstand of fans, of like 200 fans. And so when I got out the car, they all screamed and stuff. And it was one of those moments where your brain just switches to a particular setting and says, never experienced this ever before. This has changed. Things have changed. Something's changed.
And do people stop you and call you Higgins now?
In America, all the time. Not so much here.
I wonder why not.
I don't know. I think it's to do with the take-up of Apple TV Plus in America. I think it's more connected with various phone lines and internet connections, and I don't know. But certainly, and also, I think it is an American sort of style show, and it's on a new streaming channel, relatively new streaming channel. So, but it is, of course, one of the most streamed shows. It's in the top 10 of streamed shows in the world.
Amazing. I mean, there are other things you could be recognised for internationally. Downton, there's some really obvious ones. Mary Poppins Returns.
Yes, but it is really Ted Lasso that's done it.
Can we go back to the actors' strike? You are supporting it.
Oh, absolutely, yes, of course, yeah. And before the actors' strike, I was in LA in the summer, and we all went on the picket line for the writers' strike, now resolved as we speak. But absolutely, yeah, these things have to be brought into line with new technology. And in 1980, the actors went on strike because they weren't getting the residuals from video sales. And it has to be said that if these big companies can get away with it, they won't pay up for the just fees.
And how do you feel about the rise of AI and the fact that you could be paid a day rate by a studio and then have your image and voice in perpetuity?
Oh, it's completely wrong, and it has to be sort of put down and set down what we can accept. It's just completely unacceptable. I mean, really, particularly for the actors' strike, we're talking about the people who don't work much, and the conditions for them have really, really fallen. Because in America, the studios still pay out residuals for 2 or 3 years from shows, and that just doesn't happen with the streaming companies.
And I was talking to an actor the other day who said it's not just actors, it's things like he'd just seen a TV show where the titles were completely created by AI. I mean, it's putting so many people out of work, isn't it?
Oh my goodness.
So many sort of like all of the backroom crew and,
Yeah, absolutely.
Very scary. So is the strike affecting your work now and your upcoming projects?
It is in that I have some work on that unfortunately I can't speak about, but on a couple of movies that are very big for Disney, which are ongoing, and I can't continue with them. Yeah.
Is this 10 Lives you're talking about?
No, that has been done.
Has it?
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, I can't say what it is. It's not because I can't remember. But I'm literally nobody's. No, it's you'll know why further down the line.
Right.
Yes.
I've just got my information from IMDb, so I've got Descendants, The Rise of Red. That's post-production, isn't it?
That is post-production. I did that in the beginning of the year in Atlanta. That was my first job as a SAG-AFTRA member. Yeah.
Yeah. And how did it go? How was research?
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, and I got to improvise a lot. It was great.
Nice. Quite a random cast in that though.
A lot of kids who were very, very excited to be there and who cried when they saw their costumes. Oh my God! They were very excited.
Cried with joy, not cried.
Oh yeah. They were so excited. Yeah, bless them.
And what about Welcome to the Fishbowl?
That is still yet to happen. That's an independent film for the States, and that is nearly got its funding over the line. So we just fingers crossed that we can do that, because that's a great project.
And obviously, when the actors' strike is sorted.
I could do that if we had the money line, because it's an independent film. It's not a studio-oriented film. So. Yeah.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
That's great. The arts as a sector has been really neglected and terribly underfunded for the last 13 years. Do you think a Labour government would do more for the arts?
They usually do. Let's keep fingers crossed that if and when, I hope, they get into power next year, that happens, because so many companies. I know people who work in fringe theatre, and their money for PR, for example, they don't have any really anymore. So they can't publicise their shows. They can put together shows, but they just can't sell them, and it's so they end up with very small houses when they play. It's really sad.
It's so ridiculous that it's been so neglected, the arts in general, because it's worth so much to this country as a kind of soft power. And also, if you show the Tories it's worth £7 billion, you'd think that would encourage some support, but
absolutely, yeah. They don't. It's part, I'm afraid, of a lot of Tory mindsets in that they're not arts orientated. So let's hope that all turns around next year.
Yeah, 2 words, Nadine Dorries.
Yes, goodbye. Forever.
Putting her in charge of anything was weird, but
yes. Oh no.
Arts, media, sport, no.
Lord, oh Lord.
Can I ask you about your plans for Christmas? I know this is getting a bit ahead of myself. I'm assuming you won't make like Higgins and have a whole football team round.
No, that only happens in the pretendy world. But I think we are. I've finally persuaded my other half to have a Christmas party this year, so I think we will have a little Christmas party.
Will Mary be making food with stuff from the allotment? I'm hoping so.
I think a lot of it, unless I think there are some potato. I don't keep up with these things with vegetables growing, but I think potatoes might be still growing. Most of the other stuff, it's over. Tomatoes and whatnot.
So on the Christmas menu,
potatoes, yes.
And will you be in London?
I will be, and I'm going to go to New York in January to see some friends on Broadway, and also hopefully for the Emmys which should be happening mid-January if the actors' strike is over.
Yeah. What about hopes for the new year? What about New Year's resolutions? Do you have any? Do you make any?
Stay off the sandwiches.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Stick with potatoes.
Yeah. Potatoes, that's all right. Yeah.
That's all my questions, but is there anything is there anything else that we need to say about the album? The only reason I asked about if you were going to release any more singles is if we talk about a specific track.
Right.
Which we can only really do if we can illustrate it with a music video. But if you haven't got any more plans to...
I haven't got any. It just goes those 2 music videos, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So what we do is... the majority of that feature will be Can't Stop Doing It, but I'll put a little bit of clip of Wonderland in as well, just to have you talking about that as well.
Yeah. Great.
Right, anything else?
No? No.
Hopes for the future?
Peace for all mankind.
An untold Disney projects.
Yes, that is actually... It's Snow White.